It's Podraza. I'm not making any of this up. Now, as far as the vent in the ceiling in the tub, I put Scotch tape over it because I kept getting these spiders in here like crazy. I put Scotch tape as best I can at the bottom of the door. Somebody goes a little berserk on spiders and bugs. And boy, they come after me like mating time. That's the way it is and always was the way it was. And boy, I don't want to hear about snakes anymore either. That was Finley's sadistic mess in Connecticut. And he can deal with the 2 wives. That is why I put that up there. Almost fell off the darn stool. But I put paper toweling there. And I got some tape, mailing tape up there. And at the bottom of the door, I don't want any more spiders on the subject. Capos are Jews who literally were in the war. They stayed within the Nazis, and they usurped their own heritage. They are Nazi in element, and they have made it other religions, Catholic, etc., I assume. A capo is a Jew that is just as bad as a Nazi in my world, and I don't like them any better. They've made it to other religions, probably Catholic more. That's an explanation. I have not liked that element. I wanted to address also the Podraza, Shashelsky. I never had enough money to do that. You had to go through some pro bono thing and volunteer, and it was a whole bunch of mess. I didn't have the money to hire a lawyer who would do it straight out for me. I do want that addressed. What I'm not allowed to take is a cab. He's outstanding with his organization. He's brilliant at it. But I'm not allowed to take a cab. That does have to be addressed. If I've slipped on the ice, they do not get out to break my fall. That happened once up at a Caesar's Pizza. Now, that is unheard of. So I was in prison. Fortunately, there's a bus system, and I do take it. And I do get to the movies, and they're getting some real fine ones here locally, and I really enjoy it. System work has improved, and one kid has improved. That finishes my list. If you are handling that, I don't know whether you're still involved with that mating thing. I am open to that. Delighted that I can deal with you also. That finishes up the list that I have that has been a problem. If you're involved with that, I will cooperate with the analysis. And that Yentl, and I'm going to be straightforward, if he's able to and literally interested, he can work through you. And I'll know it that way. It's an easy way of handling that. If he wishes to in a fashion, he wishes to. That is able to be handled also in that fashion. Now, he may want a situation where a male is slightly younger and can make love to me if he cannot function. And that would be a life itself syndrome, not syndrome, a scenario. Banderas plays in that, similar to that, not the total picture, but the concept of it. Now that is literally what I'm saying. Also, I am open to it. I still need to eat that food, so that's where we're at. I think I've given you a pretty good analysis on that. I do require some bread, and I do love hummus. I just ate some pine nut hummus. It was outstanding. Now, that is where we're at. That's the total completion of that. My objective was to address the employment every step of the way and healing along the way of the situation that I was in. And my own therapy on myself, I literally did write that thesis, and I literally did research it in the Boston Public Library, and also I think Peabody They call it Peabody there, not Peabody, Peabody. Now, I think that's the one I went to in Massachusetts also. Screen lights, wood tables large so I could spread out the books. It's a beautiful ambiance in the public library. And I went through the stacks, I was used to that, and quoted, and I did the best to type those quotes and have a machine other than me going berserk with the quotes. And that's the way it is when you do things the hard way. I believe in your having that kind of system. I would have bought one myself. I think dictated quickly when you have hard work to get done, and a lot of it. I think that's the I can throw my, I can dance a little. I love it. Now, that does not mean that is the only thing. I can get up and dance alone if somebody loves me for a little bit of time. And a waltz can be taught. But I'm going to tell you, were it not somebody on this, I would add that in again. A little bit of dancing if I could pull it off. And I want to be able to do that if I can. I do not stop love. Not everything is perfect at 74. It's hard to find anybody single, lukewarm marriage, or divorced. And that is, it's hard to find that within the interests I have. They're pretty broad. Before I said if he has a sport, I'll have to learn it. Bowling, I don't know whether the knees will bend enough. I would want to do that. If I could do that again, I don't know. But anyway, discussion from here on. There was something else I wanted to discuss with you. But that's, Catholic Church. I want to be able to enter that again without ostracization, hard word to say. That was to be accomplished. Beliefsville, I don't know whether it's Italian or a mixture. There is a situation within that has to be stopped. My ostracization from the Catholic Church. Now, who I marry is not a necessity that he be so. But I'm going to tell you, I want the next marriage blessed in a Catholic Church. Now, if he's another faith, we'll acknowledge that, and I want it blessed in his faith. Jew is not against, I'm not against a good Jew either. A good Protestant, or that has to be done in the Catholic faith. The bottom line is I no longer want to be thrown out of the Catholic faith ever again. Have a good day. Major on this. My daughter is a Catholic with Dennis McGarry Jr., and my grandchildren have been raised that way. There is a prevention on that, and I want that, of course, healed. Now, I don't doubt my son, if he ever commits or can, again, on how he wishes to operate in that. I am broad-minded. That is his choice. In the end, I hope sometime he will be able to consummate a relationship. This is Pat Podraza. I have been awfully upset by this situation. I am trying to sign a lease, but I hoped I'd never have to sign again without a male in my life, so there would be no more problems on this subject matter. What I'm listening to is Bush on something with going back in the communications industry in Endicott. That is all nuts, and that was said here. Now, I don't feel for Dr. Casey. I am the same. I didn't feel for Claire. I would defend Dr. Pett and his wife due to having known the quietude of that building and the offices that were there. I did Dr. Casey a favor if he wanted to move ahead within the wealth a long time ago. That is who I am by nature. And all I have then is slaughtered by an element of society, Nazis, that don't know the difference between, some do not, refinement and lack of it. What I require is refinement. and I was forced to listen to the most horrific lack of it ever. I don't want anything to do with Deborah Slavin here. In some Janus with her practice, she was there. And what are we doing on this? I don't want any psychic bothering me ever. The only one I ever believed in is a male, if he's on his feet at all and not gone berserk. And I don't want him anywhere but around me. That's a mind out there, and I got worried today on it. This is ridiculous, because who would I be going back to in Connecticut at all? Pseudo friends? There's nobody I'd be ever going back to. There were some fine executives at a point in time, good family men, and I trusted them. That is not connected with what you're calling about. You have said that. I don't even like that element here, and I don't want to hear anything about my son ever. He's a good boy and a good man, and he's trying to have a life. And I've had none all of my life, since that 8th grade deranged nun that I dealt with. Now I am still Pat, and I can still talk this way. I felt she was deranged. And that is where this is at.